Hi everybody, welcome. Okay, so we are continuing with chapter 5 and we'll start with the Gita Dhyanam as usual. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിനീം Amb Tvamanusantatami Bhagavad-gīte Bhavadveshinīm Namostute Vyasa Vishashala Buddhe Pullarabindayatapatra-netre Yena Tvaya Bharatate Lapurnaham Prajvalito Jnanamayah Pradipaha Prapannaparijātāya Totra Vetraikapānaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gītamrataduhe Namaha Sarvopanishaddu Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsasudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gītamratam Mahat Okay, so let's we got to the 9th shloka on Thursday last week. So now we're up to the 10th. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena padmapatram padrapatmamivambasa. Okay, so he who acts depositing all actions in Brahman. So Brahmanyadhaya, so depositing those actions in Brahman, those karmani, karmas. Having abandoned attachment, sangam tyaktva, to those fruits, is not touched by any kind of sin. So he is not affected by any ignorance or sin, and he becomes like the lotus leaf which is untouched by water. So Padma Patram is the lotus leaf, Padma is lotus, Patram leaf, so Padma Patram Iva, like the lotus leaf which is untouched, Ambasa, by water. Lipyate, na lipyate, untouched. So by giving up all actions to that Brahman, to that higher being, not having any attachment to the outcome of the actions, he's no longer touched by any kind of sin. Here, sin is that papam, sin. He's neither touched by punya either. So neither of those good things he's affected by. He's affected by neither. So both are kinds of attachments. Okay, so let's chant. Brahmanyadhaya, 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 Karmani, 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 Sangam tyaktva, Sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena padmapatram ivam bhasa. Okay, so very straightforward, just that sandhi sangan tyaktva, so that ma becomes na before tyaktva, before ta. Sangan tyaktva. Okay, again. Brahmanyadhaya karmani Sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena padmapatram ivam bhasa. Okay, so now half lines. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena padmapatram ivam bhasa. Okay, full lines. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena padmapatram ivam bhasa. Lipyate nasapapena padmapatram ivam bhasa. Lipyate nasapapena padmapatram ivam bhasa. Okay, so this chapter evaluating the difference between sannyasa yoga, the yoga of abandoning action, and this karma yoga, which is acting without attachment to the results of the action. So Krishna is telling how to act without, and the importance of acting without any attachment. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrayairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva shuddhaye. So with the body, mind, intellect, and indriyas only, yogins perform actions, abandoning all attachments for the purpose of purifying the self. So with the body, kayena, with the mind, manasa, with the intellect, buddhya, indriyahi, kevalaihi, only. All of these are in the instrumental case. And then again, you see this abandoning all attachments, tyaktva, sangan tyaktva, for the purifying of the self, the atma shuddhi, for abandoning that, for purifying the atma, the self. So he still acts. Action still takes place with the body, mind, intellect, and indriyas, but not with the attachment. No full lines for 510. Or did we not do the full shloka for 510? Okay. We'll go back and do that. Sorry, Areste. Okay, so we have to chant the whole shloka 2 times through. Thanks for pointing that out. So we do 510 twice through the whole thing. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangan tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena padmapatramivambasa. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangan tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasapapena padmapatramivambasa. Okay, so back to number 511. 11th shloka. Okay, so quarter lines. Kayena manasa, kayena manasa, kayena manasa, buddhya, 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 kevalaihi, 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 indriyairapi, indriyairapi, indriyairapi. So this is, when you split this, the words are kevalaihi, indriyahi, api. So api only, indriya, so by the indriyas, because it's plural, you get indriyahi, indriyahi. And you get kevala, this means without that, so by them only, kevalaihi. But then when we split, anyway, you get this visarga coming, kevalaihi, indriyaihi, api. When we join, it'll be kevalairindriyairapi. Okay. Yoginah karma, yoginah karma, yoginah karma, kurvanti, 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 sangan tyaktva, sangan tyaktva, sangan tyaktva, atmashuddhaye, atmashuddhaye, atmashuddhaye. So this double, this symbol here, avagraha, the double one, means that you're replacing a long a, atmashuddhaye. When it joins, it becomes tyaktva atmashuddhaye, not tyaktva atmashuddhaye. So you just get one long a. That symbol shows that that long a at the beginning of atmashuddhaye has been elided, it has been lost. Okay, once more, quarter lines. Kayena manasa, kayena manasa, kayena manasa, buddhya, 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 kevalaihi, 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 indriyairapi, 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 yoginah karma, yoginah karma, yoginah karma, kurvanti, 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 sangan tyaktva, sangan tyaktva, sangan tyaktva, atmashuddhaye, atmashuddhaye, atmashuddhaye. Okay, now half lines. Kayena manasa buddhya, kayena manasa buddhya, kayena manasa buddhya, kevalairindrayairapi, 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 yoginah karma kurvanti, yoginah karma kurvanti, yoginah karma kurvanti, sangan tyaktvatmashuddhaye, sangan tyaktvatmashuddhaye, sangan tyaktvatmashuddhaye. Okay, so notice again, when you join here, this ma with the dot, this nasal ma becomes na, sangan tyaktva. Okay, let's do full lines. Kayena manasa buddhya, kevalairindrayairapi, kayena manasa buddhya, kevalairindrayairapi, kayena manasa buddhya, kevalairindrayairapi, yoginah karma kurvanti, sangan tyaktvatmashuddhaye, yoginah karma kurvanti, sangan tyaktvatmashuddhaye, yoginah karma kurvanti, sangan tyaktvatmashuddhaye. Okay, now whole shloka. Kayena manasa buddhya, kevalairindrayairapi, yoginah karma kurvanti, sangan tyaktvatmashuddhaye, kayena manasa buddhya, kevalairindrayairapi, yoginah karma kurvanti, sangan tyaktvatmashuddhaye. Okay, next one. Yuktah karma palam tyaktva, shantim hapnoti naishtikim, ayuktah kamakarena, phale sakto nibadhyate. So ayukta, this word yukta means one who is an accomplished yogi. He has become joined, he has become yukta with that Atman. Again we see abandoning the fruits of his action. So karma palam tyaktva. So karma palam, when people talk about experiencing karma, they're usually really talking about experiencing karma pala. So the fruit palam of previous actions, the result of those actions, the pala, is what people are talking about. So when people say karma, they mean karma pala. Tyaktva, having abandoned the fruits of actions, he obtains shanti, shanti mapnoti. And ayukta, so you have yuktaha, that person that is joined with yoga, or that is joined in yoga. Ayuktaha, that person that is not a yogi, acting with desire, kamakarena, attached to the fruits of actions, phale saktaha, actually this is attached in the fruits, is how that would be translated in Sanskrit. Nibadhyate, he remains bound. So by all those actions, he remains bound by the results because he is attached. And because of his desire for the fruits of actions, for the recognition of the actions, for all those things, he remains bound and continues in that cycle of samsara. This creates more, it leads to more actions which create more of those kind of fruits, those kind of results, which create more trouble. Sometimes he'll get that punya from doing good actions, but still he's bound to that punya because he desires that punya, that those good results also. So it keeps him bound in that cycle, continuous cycle of samsara, never able to be released from that. Whereas the yogi is not interested in the good results or the bad results. He simply does the action and tries to do the action perfectly for the sake of doing dharma. Whether he doesn't want any recognition, he doesn't need anything more than that necessary to sustain him or her. Okay. Yuktah karma palam, yuktah karma palam, yuktah karma palam, tyaktva, 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 shantim, 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 apnoti, 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 naishtikim, 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 ayuktah kama, ayuktah kama, ayuktah kama, karena, 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 phale saktaha, phale saktaha, phale saktaha, nibadhyate, nibadhyate, nibadhyate. Okay, so spot the mistake. So I should have split ayuktaha and then kamakarena. So by acting or acting with desire, kamakarena. So all fairly straightforward. Again, karma palan tyaktva it will be, and yuktah karma, you get that visarga is pronounced in the throat, so it becomes yuktah karma palam tyaktva, yuktah kamakarena pale sakto. And when we join sakta, saktaha and nibadhyate, we get sakto nibadhyate when we join. Okay, once more. Yuktaha, 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 karma palam tyaktva, karma palam tyaktva, karma palam tyaktva, shantimapnoti, 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 naishtikim, 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 ayukta, ayuktaha, 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 kamakarena, 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 phale saktaha, phale saktaha, phale saktaha, nibadhyate, nibadhyate, nibadhyate. Okay, so now half lines. Yuktah karma palan tyaktva, yuktah karma palan tyaktva, yuktah karma palan tyaktva, shantimapnoti naishtikim, shantimapnoti naishtikim, shantimapnoti naishtikim, ayuktah kamakarena, ayuktah kamakarena, ayuktah kamakarena, phale sakto nibadhyate, phale sakto nibadhyate, phale sakto nibadhyate. Okay, now full lines. Yuktah karma palan tyaktva, Shantimapnoti neshtikim yuktah karma phalam tyaktva. Shantimapnoti neshtikim yuktah karma phalam tyaktva. Shantimapnoti neshtikim ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. Ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. Ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. Now full shloka. Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti neshtikim. Ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti neshtikim. Ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. Sarvakarmani manasa sandhyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. So one who has control, having renounced the fruits of all actions by his mind, he stays very happily in the city of 9 gates, neither himself acting or causing the body to act. Okay. So this shloka mentions this Navadvare, the city of 9 gates, is the Dehin. The Dehin, Dehi is the one who has a body. Dehin is the Shabda, Dehi is the word when it's declined. And so the city, in that city of 9 gates, Navadvare Pure. So that Dehi is the one that stays in the body, the Dehin. And the 9 gates are the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, the genital, and the anus. So all the different openings of the body are called the 9 gates. There's quite a lot written about this in the different shastras it's mentioned. So this body is described as a city, and the Atman, the soul, is the resident of that city. Now, one who has control, so he, that yogi, that one who is a yukta, he resides very happily, and he's not acting. He's not causing the body to act. He's only observing. So everything is happening in Prakriti, which will be mentioned in another shloka. Everything is going on. Actually, that Atman, he's only observing what is going on. Everything else is going on in the realm of Prakriti, in the realm of nature. So these two things are independent. And in yoga, the understanding is that when that one that dwells in the body gets confused, gets attached, gets through ignorance, becomes associated with nature or prakriti, and believes itself to be prakriti, then suffering happens. So that kaivalya in yoga is that awareness of separation between prakriti and purusha, or prakriti and atman, nature and soul. Okay. But very simply put here. Sarva karmani manasa Sanyasyaste, 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 sukham vashi, sukham vashi, sukham vashi, navadvare, 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 pure dehi, pure dehi, pure dehi, naiva kurvanna, naiva kurvanna, naiva kurvanna, karayanna, karayanna, karayanna. So a couple of things here. This manas sanyasyaste, this ma becomes another na. So it's double na. So you hear that pause. Sanyas, sorry. Sanyasyaste, sanyasyaste. Okay, so a little pause on that double na. And then kurvan and na, just two separate words. But otherwise fairly straightforward. Okay, so once again, sarva karmani, sarva karmani, sarva karmani, manasa, 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 sanyasyaste, 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 sukham vashi, sukham vashi, sukham vashi. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. So this ma before wa, sukham vashi. So it's like a double wa comes. This is like you have another wa here, and it becomes a nasal sound. So as the teeth touch the lip for wa, then it causes the sound to come through the nose because there's a closing, partial closing there. When the teeth come to the lip, it's not firm contact, it's soft contact, but you feel the sound come out the nose at the beginning. So it becomes sukham vashi, like that, sukham vashi. So you should feel that root of the nose vibrating. Okay. Navadvare, 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 pure dehi, pure dehi, pure dehi, naiva kurvanna, naiva kurvanna, naiva kurvanna, karayanna, karayanna, karayanna. Okay, now half lines. Sarva karmani manasa, sarva karmani manasa, sarva karmani manasa, sanyasyaste sukham vashi, sanyasyaste sukham vashi, sanyasyaste sukham vashi, navadvare pure dehi, navadvare pure dehi, navadvare pure dehi, naiva kurvanna karayan, naiva kurvanna karayan, naiva kurvanna karayan. Okay, full lines. Sarva karmani manasa, sanyasyaste sukham vashi, sarva karmani manasa, sanyasyaste sukham vashi, sarva karmani manasa, sanyasyaste sukham vashi, navadvare pure dehi, naiva kurvanna karayan, navadvare pure dehi, naiva kurvanna karayan, navadvare pure dehi, naiva kurvanna karayan. Now full shloka. Sarva karmani manasa, sanyasyaste sukham vashi, navadvare pure dehi, naiva kurvanna karayan, sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan akarayan. Okay, one more. Nakartritvam nakarmani lokasya srjati prabhu nakarma pala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate. So Brahman, this soul, does not create agentship, nor actions, nor the combination of karma and its fruit, that karma pala, but it is only the tendencies that act. So this it's hard to translate. The tendencies are the impressions or the vasanas of Prakriti. So that those impressions left by actions, those samskaras that are present, are in the realm only of Prakriti. They're actually not really attached to that Atman, to that soul. That soul has become entangled in Prakriti, and so by that ignorant, by that wrong knowledge, it then feels as if these actions, it's bound by these actions. Okay, so but it does not create any agentship. It has got no ownership over those actions. It doesn't create any actions. It doesn't cause the connection of action and the fruits or the pala of the action. It's completely independent. It's kaivalya, as is mentioned in the Yoga Sutras. That kaivalya pada is talking about that. It's only nature that is happening. Okay. So let's go through. Nakartritvam, 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 nakarmani, 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 lokasya, 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 srjati prabhu, srjati prabhu, srjati prabhu, nakarmapala, 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 sanyogam, 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 swabhavastu, 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 pravartate, pravartate, pravartate. Couple of things here. Sanyogam, like I said in that previous shloka, where you have a, actually this should be a ma. 1 second. This ma with the dot underneath before ya, it's like this ma becomes another ya. When it comes before ya, it becomes another ya. So when you pronounce that first ya, then it's a nasal sound. So sang, and as you say, prepare to say the second one, sanyogam, you hear it causes sing, the palate to vibrate and the sound to come through the nose. So this is called nasal, and this is what happens before ya. So it becomes karma pala sanyogam. So think of it as a double ya, and the first ya, that pressing of the first ya causes the sound to come out the nose. Okay, once more, quarter lines. Nakartritvam, 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 nakarmani, 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 lokasya, 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 srjati prabhu, srijati prabhu, srijati prabhu, na karma phala, na karma phala, na karma phala, sanyogam, sanyogam, sanyogam. Swabhava, this is swabhavaha and tu, but joining becomes swabhavastu. Swabhavastu, 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 pravartate, pravartate, pravartate. Okay, now half lines. Nakartritvan nakarmani, nakartritvan nakarmani, nakartritvan nakarmani, lokasya srijati prabhu, lokasya srijati prabhu, lokasya srijati prabhu, nakarma phala sanyogam, nakarma phala sanyogam, nakarma phala sanyogam, swabhavastu pravartate, swabhavastu pravartate, swabhavastu pravartate. Okay, now whole lines. Nakartritvan nakarmani, lokasya srijati prabhu, nakartritvan nakarmani, lokasya srijati prabhu, nakartritvan nakarmani, lokasya srijati prabhu, nakarma phala sanyogam, swabhavastu pravartate, nakarma phala sanyogam, swabhavastu pravartate, nakarma phala sanyogam, swabhavastu pravartate. Okay, full shloka. Nakartatvan nakarmani, lokasya srijati prabhu, nakarma phala sanyogam, swabhavastu pravartate, nakartatvan nakarmani, lokasya srijati prabhu, nakarma phala sanyogam, swabhavastu pravartate. Okay, now we go through these 5 shlokas just once through each time. I'll go slowly. Brahmanyadhaya karmani, sangam tyaktva karoti yaha, lipyate na sapapena, padmapatram ivambhasa, kayena manasa buddhya, kevalairindrayairapi, yoginah karma kurvanti, sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye, yukta karma phalam tyaktva, shantimapnoti naishtikim, ayuktah kamakarena, phale sakto nibadhyate, sarvakarmani manasa, sanyasyaste sukham vashi, navadvare pure dehi, neva kurvanna karayan, nakartritvan nakarmani, lokasya srijati prabhu, nakarma phala sanyogam, swabhavastu pravartate. Okay, so we'll continue on Tuesday. So Krishna is really explaining that the nature, especially here, that this nature of the Atman is that it is completely devoid of any association with Prakriti. And that knowledge, that's spiritual knowledge, that realization comes about through karma yoga. It can come about by acting without attachment to results, only doing dharma, and one who is already liberated, one who is following the path of jnana, so sannyasa yogin, who will often abandon any actions. Really, they still have to act. So all those actions still have to be of the nature of karma yoga, but the one that has that knowledge already automatically their actions should be like this, because that knowledge brings this type of action, and this type of action will bring, eventually will bring that knowledge. But since we all have to act, we should follow karma yoga. We should do karma yoga. So he's talking to Arjuna, who's in this dilemma about fighting, about following his dharma. Somebody was in conference was asking Sharat about this. What about this Arjuna having to fight, having to do ahimsa, and when we think about Arjuna, he has to do this ahimsa, whether he acts or whether he doesn't act, that himsa will still be there. It's only his act, the way that he acts and his relationship to his action that is different. So if he doesn't fight, then those evil people on the other side will kill so many people. If he does fight, he'll have to kill them, and that will prevent them killing these other people. But he has to follow his dharma. He has to follow that dharma that he has been, that is his station in life. But he can act in a way that is devoid of any attachment to the fruits. Beautiful to watch, wonderful to watch everything that's going on in America at the moment, with so much division, so much fighting, so much grief, and so much attachment at all levels, and so much adharma. It's such a great education to see this going on, because there's no doubt. But if everybody was acting without attachment to their results, only following their duty, everything would be perfect. So, and the results would take care of themselves. Okay, some people are acting with dharma, some people are trying to follow dharma, follow their conscience. And in that way, they're relieved of so many stresses associated with, so there'll be no residue left from that action. By following conscience, when you understand conscience, when you get in touch with that, more in touch with the Atman, when you only act in that way that comes from that place, there won't be a residue. You won't feel any stain afterwards. If you act in a way that is adharmic, and you act against conscience in that way, then it will leave a residue. It will result in further problems later on, and it'll keep you bound in that cycle. So very beautiful to watch all this going on. We have to think of it in that way. Okay, thank you everybody. See you on, oh, sorry, I got some questions I didn't see. Sarjati, 1 second. I'll just quickly answer these. Question. Swabhavastu. No, it should just sound like Swabhavastu pravartate. Swabhavastu pravartate. There's a little pause at the beginning of pravartate because of the sanyukta pa and ra. Swabhavastu pravartate. Okay. Srujati prabhuhu. Again, there's pa and ra sanyukta prabhuhu. So Srujati prabhuhu, you get a slight pause, as because you have those two sounds together without a vowel. Srujati prabhuhu causes a little pause as you rest on the beginning of the pa in preparation for the ra. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you on Tuesday. Om swasti pradabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mihishaha go brahmanebhya shubhamasta nityam lokaha samastaha sukhinah bhavantu. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Ram Ram Dhanyavadaha. Thank you, everybody.